Why? I just wanted to go back to my son. I was given a mission to bring back a comp. My son's medical bills were sky high. If I didn't do this, I could never pay them. And it's impossible now. Even with Susanoo's power, I couldn't beat you. There's nothing left for me. Nothing whatsoever.
But hey, Honda!
He's gone. I feel kinda sorry for him. I sympathize with his poor fortune, but we can make no exceptions for any tamer. This is how it should have been. Using demons to attain one's happiness is wrong.
It's that voice we heard a minute ago.
Oh, Kuninishi? It was you, wasn't it? You gave those tamers power and Susanoo to Honda. Why would you do all that? What are you trying to do? Indeed, he is the only one recognized by God as the Messiah. I'm positive that he'll prove to be an excellent leader. You, however, have abdicated this nation once. Why do you show yourself now? We would prefer not to take such extreme measures. If you agree to our proposal and perform the abdication ritual, we will gladly accept.
But wait! The conditions are too vague. How will we know if they've been saved?
Its original void? Does that mean he's gonna destroy Japan? Then what's gonna happen to all the people here? I don't care if he is the god who created Japan! We can't let him do that!
Damn it! This is bad. We only have until evening. That's not a lot of time. So Okuninushi was the one giving power to the demon tamers.
Hey, Amane, what kind of god is Okuninushi? Simply put, he is the god who created the nation of Japan. But it seems that Okuninushi had no intention of ruling over his own country. He forfeited his right to rule to another in a process called abdication.
Oh, so that's why you brought up that abdication thing to convince him.
And he's willing to do it if we save someone from eternal punishment, right?
Yes, and I believe he already knows who this someone is. No, it is not him. He refers to your cousin.
Oh yeah, I remember that coming up when we fought him yesterday.
Just as he was Abel, Naoya was Cain. Since Cain killed his brother Abel, he received a punishment that persists to this day.
Is this about what you said yesterday? He'll be punished until he faces his sin.
Still, his life must have been more hellish than we can imagine. He's had ages to think things through, and he still decided to get revenge against God.
Still, it was Naoya telling me to hold on to the comps that got us into all this. Oh, well, that's true. But still, I agree. He became the Messiah as a result of you three acquiring comps.
It depends on how we look at it. He did drag everyone into the lockdown. But in giving us comps, he also gave us the means and the power to survive.
You're right, and he did let him make his own decision in the end.
Yeah, he's not what you'd call open about his feelings.
Yeah, in the end, I feel the same way. Oh, Kuninushi aside, I want to help Naoya. But how can we save him? I mean, this punishment came directly from God. Yet we must not give up. Our only choice is to begin by speaking to him.
But our deadline is sundown. What's gonna happen if we can't do it? Huh? You sound pretty sure of... Oh, crap. Our death clock is 0 again, isn't it?
Oh, Kuninushi said that if we fail, he'll destroy Japan and make it over again.
A clean slate. And we'd be wiped off along with everything else.
So what are we waiting for? There's not much time until sundown. We gotta find Naoya.
Hey! Naoya! Doubt finding him will be as simple as this. Hey, do you have any ideas where he might be? Oh, I get it. So that's why you decided to come here.
Doesn't this feel awkward to you guys? We just had an all-out fight with him yesterday. Just consider that part of the trial we've been given. Running won't solve anything.
Hey! Over there! Isn't that Naoya?
Wait, he's surrounded by demon tamers. He is without a comp at the moment, which places him in danger.
Yeah!
You're the one that made these comps, right? Well, look, we need your help.
Nonsense. You're wasting your time. I have no reason to help you.
What? Looks like you need us to teach you how things work around here.
Huh? What the hell are you looking at?
What? You...
What did you say? We ain't gonna show mercy just 'cause you're kids.
Boss, this could be trouble. These are those Messiah guys.
The Messiah? We'll let you go this time.
I'm glad you're safe. It's been a while.
Spare me. You and I have no business. Or have you come with a favor-baited hook? I see. Let me guess. You found yourselves in a fix.
We have come here to speak to you as Cain.
What's the difference? Naoya is just the name given to this incarnation. I don't change. Not in my past life, not in this one, and not in the next. Go ask your beloved God about it. He's the one who saddled me with this curse. You'll never understand. There's no need to understand the pain of eternal memory. You'll try to understand? Mealy-mouthed nonsense. No wonder you're the Messiah. If you had chosen to war with God as I wanted, maybe you'd understand a fraction of it. But you chose to walk at his side instead. What business could we possibly have now? Help me? You want to help me? Interesting. Then help me. Well, I'm waiting. You can't understand the humiliation he put me through, the pain that worsens daily. The only one in this world who can understand me is myself. Leave me. If you continue to pester me, I'll kill you.
It's unfortunate, but he won't speak with us now even if we pursue him. But that aside, were you able to glean anything from his words?
Yeah, you're right. It did seem that way.
But I don't think that's all. He kept saying you'd never understand. Isn't that his way of saying he wants to be understood?
I think we should find out first what made his heart so warped.
Then let us search for someone knowledgeable about Cain.
That sounds like a plan. It's not easy to truly understand someone. But if we don't understand Cain, we'll never find a way to save him from damnation. Let's keep at it. We can't give up.
Oh, isn't that Honda over there?
He looks really depressed. Then again, we did stop him from escaping from here.
But that's not our fault! We couldn't let him take a comp out! He would have wrecked stuff with Susanoo's power!
Yeah, that's true, but
Hey, that reminds me. Honda knows a lot about demons and mythology, right? Remember when Kaido called Pazuzu? He knew right away what kind of demon it was. Yeah, so why not ask him about Cain? Hi, Mr. Honda.
Oh, hello. I don't have a comp anymore. I have no intention to fight.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. We're not looking for a fight. We came to ask you something.
Sorry. I'm not in the mood.
We're actually looking for a way to save Cain from his eternal punishment.
So Okuninushi has a condition for abdicating. That's why you want to save Cain?
Yes, but even apart from that, we'll never get a chance like this. If we can save Naoya and the country will be spared, we figured we had to do it. Please, tell us what you know. It doesn't matter how insignificant it seems.
Come on, Mr. Honda! It's to save everyone, not just us!
All right. I'll tell you what I know.
Ah, thank you.
But I have to say, I'm no divinity scholar. I can only give you my personal opinion.
That's quite all right. Please, go on.
Cain is the human race's oldest murderer. Did you know that much?
We know the basics of the story anyway.
All right. Then I'll skip that part. If you want to know more about it, find a specialist and ask him. Suffice to say, Cain killed his younger brother Abel and was made an outcast. What I find most interesting about the story of Cain is why God, who's supposed to be all-knowing, let Cain commit murder. If you think of it that way, Cain's not the villain of the story. He's the victim. It's not just Cain. Lots of stories exist to relate a lesson to the listener. For example, you might warn someone not to touch hot water, or they'll get burned. The person you warn will obviously be careful when handling hot water, but the consequences aren't fully conveyed, so they might not use all due cautions. However, if they see someone get burned, they'd understand the danger then. In other words, if you want to teach a lesson, it's most effective to set an example. I believe Cain was chosen by God as that example. That's my theory anyway. In truth, Many such sacrifices appear throughout the Bible. A single human is used to set an example for many. That's the real character of God. I'm done telling you what I know. Could you leave me alone now?
We really appreciate it. Are you all right, Mr. Honda? You don't seem well.
My son died.
What?
I made contact with the outside. That's when I found out. He didn't make it.
Oh. My condolences to you.
So don't bother me anymore. Just leave me be. Just leave me alone.
Mr. Honda, thank you for everything.
I feel sorry for Honda.
Wow, that's awful.
Poor Honda. He wanted to see his son so bad, too.
Ah, Lady Amane. And the Messiah and his followers as well.
Huh? It's that Azuma guy. You're still in the Shomonkai? I assumed you'd be long gone.
After my defeat at your hands, Lady Amane spoke to me when I was at my lowest. Now I am merely a believer, dedicating his life to the Shomonkai. No shame in that.
Wow, you've really changed. It's like you're a totally different person now. This is fortuitously timed. Why not ask Azuma about Cain?
Of course. If I can be of assistance, then by all means, ask away. What do you need?
We have to find some means of salvation for Cain.
I see. I understand your predicament. I will tell you what I know about Cain. Adam, the first human that God created, had a number of sons. One of these was Cain, who was Abel's older brother. Cain made his way in the world by cultivating the land and farming crops, while Abel made himself a shepherd. Does this make sense so far?
That sounds pretty normal. How'd that lead to murder? Did they not get along?
No, none of the scriptures mention anything like that.
Then what would have made him kill his brother?
I was just coming to that tragic incident. One day, God ordered Cain and Abel to prepare offerings to him. Cain offered the crop that he cultivated, and Abel offered his firstborn lamb.
I see. Cain cultivated the land, so he offered crops. And Abel was a shepherd, so he offered a lamb. But that led to murder?
Yes. With both offerings laid out before him, the Lord only found joy in Abel's. Feeling this was unreasonable, Cain became angry, which was his motive to kill Abel. This is the truth behind the world's first murder. You understand Cain's anger, but you mustn't forget Abel, who was the crime's victim. But the world's first murder was not the true sin. God knew, of course, that Cain had killed Abel, but he asked Cain, "Where is your brother?" Cain answered by saying, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Yes, he claimed not to know, despite being the one who had killed Abel. But it is impossible to lie to the Lord. In the end, the earth spoke of Cain's deeds and exposed the murder. And so God cursed Cain with eternity and placed vengeance sevenfold to protect him. Yes, God gave Cain time enough to face the sin he committed.
Oh, hang on! Question! What's this vengeance sevenfold stuff?
Whoever tries to kill Cain will receive vengeance sevenfold. So saith the Lord. Once started, the cycle of revenge never ends. He must have meant to forestall it. Cain was thus given safety, yet in return he was forced to face his sin for eternity. He was then driven from his idyllic life to wander the earth forever, cursed to remember one sin for eternity. It could be called God's ordeal for Cain. God is all-knowing. Of course, he has the power to see into the future. It's possible that was why he yearned for Cain to face his sin rather than punish him. Cain was a farmer. When the lamb was accepted, he should not have been angered. And despite his anger, he should not have murdered his brother. And even when the sin had been committed, he should not have hidden his misdeed. I believe that those were a series of ordeals for Cain, to grasp what he was meant to learn from them. That is what Cain faces to this day.
I get that God gave Cain a series of ordeals from what you just told us, but doesn't that mean Abel getting killed was part of those ordeals? I doubt God would have overlooked the possibility that Abel might be killed.
Yes, God is all-knowing, so he must have foreseen it.
Then that's like Abel was left to die. Why did God do such a thing?
It is not given to mere humans to know his ways. But if you still yearn for an answer, you must consider God's ultimate intentions. The Book of Job may be instructive here.
The Book of Job?
Unfortunately, that is all I can tell you. Please.
God's ultimate intentions, huh?
So Cain's punishment will never end until he figures it out. The question is what Cain must discover, and if he will reach the enlightenment God desires.
We have to decipher what God wants? How the hell are we supposed to know that?
Hey, I noticed something about the story. I don't think God did forsake Cain.
Huh. Well, now that you mention it, it does seem that way. If that's the case, could we make Naoya see that? It might change his mind. By the way, that Book of Job Ozma mentioned, what's that story about?
Very well. Then please allow me to tell you what I know.
That'd be great, thanks.
It began with something Satan said when he challenged God. Job, your favorite of men, is pious, but is his piety honest? Upon hearing this, God permitted Satan to test Job's righteousness. He was given leave to inflict all manner of cruelty on Job, provided his life was spared. And so Satan destroyed Job's property and children and covered his body with boils.
What? No way! Isn't that like a fate worse than death?
Exactly. Job was in such pain that everyone was sure he would choose death. But suicide would be a betrayal of God, and Job was too pious to take his life. 3 of Job's friends came to see him in this condition and said this to him. Your disease is a punishment for going against God. Admit it and seek his forgiveness. But Job knew that he was not at fault and rebuffed his friend's advice. Then what is that disease, they asked. It can only be a punishment from God. And Job said, Thus I ask the Lord, why? Only tell me where I have wronged you.
His faith was incredible. Any normal person would have been cursing God's name.
Yes, but Job refused. All he thought was this. I recall doing nothing wrong. I want to know God's reason for my misfortunes. Seeing that Job's faith never faltered, Satan gave up his torments and left. Afterward, God removed Job's disease and gave him longevity for adhering to his faith. And that is the story told in the Book of Job. Job's faith was amazing, but wasn't it cruel to torture him to make a point? What Job displayed was true conviction. God believed Job's faith would never falter. When the ordeal was over, he tended to Job himself. God never forsakes his children. Do you recall the metaphor Honda mentioned? Indeed, he meant that when you see someone else suffer, you understand the danger. In other words, true faith can be taught by the example of Job's suffering. The book of Job teaches that however painful things are, faith will win in the end.
Huh? But what does that have to do with Cain?
To become enlightened. You're absolutely correct. I believe you're on the right track. If the first murderer faces his sin and gets beyond it, it would be an inspiration. Despite one's sins, one may repent and find enlightenment. Isn't that what God wants?
Then is that why Cain got hit with eternal punishment? Yikes! Now he's being tested like crazy!
That's a hell of a test. How heavy must his burden be?
His punishment is ongoing, which means his ordeal isn't over yet. But that aside, I'm more curious about Abel, the sacrifice for this ordeal. Cain was given the chance to reach enlightenment through eternal reincarnation. But Abel died, robbed of his chance to ponder not only enlightenment, but everything.
You're right now that you mention it. We keep focusing on Cain's punishment, but...
Abel, God's child, do you resent being killed? Abel's grudge over what happened to him cast his soul into the demon world. But you have forgiven Cain. That is most likely why you were chosen as the Messiah.
Okay, we understand about Abel now. But what do we do about Cain? About Naoya?
We are spreading God's order. In doing this, we have faced a number of sinners. Some were not saved, but there were a few we managed to bring salvation to. Why not try to identify similarities among those who were saved? Admitting one's sins is an important step, but is that all? They confessed to the sins they committed and tried to atone for them. A sin cannot be taken back, but by admitting them, one can atone for one's actions. Isn't that the path Cain should take to be saved from his eternal punishment?
It's hard for me to believe a man like him hasn't realized that already.
Maybe he doesn't want to admit it? It's like admitting he got played by God. No one likes being used, and Naoya? He'd like it even less than most people. Yeah, but if he doesn't get over himself, we're screwed.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sure he'll understand.
All right, then let's do our best for our buddy Naoya.